Chapter 4172. The moment she said that, Kong Xiao smiled. Burying his face in her tender neck, he asked in a hoarse voice, "Did it hurt last night?" Sumo looked at him. "I'm going out. I'll come out after I wash my face." Kong Xiao was still smiling as he kissed her cheeks in a good mood before heading out. Su Mo wiped her face and looked at her own face in the mirror. There was some redness on her face, which was completely different from the paleness from before. She reached out and pinched her face. Indeed, it was not a dream. She was really living in Kong Xiao's house, and they were married. She went to change into another set of clothes before heading to the dining room. Everything here was very simple. The dining room was only about 10 square meters, and the furniture was made of solid wood. When she came out, Kong Xiao brought a bowl of piping hot dumplings over and placed it in front of her. "There's quite a lot. If you can't finish it, I'll finish it for you." Sumo's eyes curved into crescents as he smiled. "You're so nice." When he sat down, he leaned towards her. "Don't you know how nice you are?" Sumo really could not take it when he was joking so openly in front of Teacher Kong. She glanced at him and said softly, "Kong Xiao, don't go overboard." "Overboard?" He lowered his voice again. "I'm the one who's overboard if I don't touch you." Sumo could not help but roll her eyes. "You're too much." Kong Xiao smiled and took care of Mother Kong. Sumo glanced at him and lowered her head to eat her breakfast. Her eyes were gentle, which was the expression of a woman who was loved. Kong Xiao felt a little satisfied in his heart as well. The atmosphere in the Kong family had never been this good. After breakfast, Sumo said that she would help her pack her luggage, and Teacher Kong did not reject her. When Sumo went to her bedroom to pack, Teacher Kong said to Kong Xiao, "After I'm discharged, let's have a wedding. We can't let Sumo suffer. Moreover, you have a lot of temptations around you, so it's better to be married." Kong Xiao smiled. "That's great. I want to give Sumo a wedding too, but I'm afraid that she won't be willing. How can there be a woman who doesn't like to wear a beautiful wedding dress?" Teacher Kong scolded. "You're just dragging it out." As she said that, she took out a card from her pocket. "There's more than 2 million yuan in this. Although I know you're rich, this is a little something for me to buy something for Sumo." Don't girls nowadays like to say that a bag can cure all kinds of diseases? That's right. Kong Xiao squeezed the card in her hand. "Mom, if this bag can cure all kinds of diseases, I will immediately buy 100 for you." Then she added, when Sumo was a manager, she was quite particular. "Now, she's very casual. Just look at her. She can buy anything she wants with this money. You have to accompany her." Teacher Kong laughed and scolded. "You're almost 40. Don't let your mother teach you how to love your wife." Kong Xiao smiled and said, "Mother can teach me when she has time." Teacher Kong laughed and scolded a few more times, then said, "Go and tidy up with your wife. I'm going to rest for a while." Kong Xiao nodded and walked into Teacher Kang's bedroom. Sumo was tidying up. When he saw Kong Xiao enter, he said softly, "I only brought 2 sets of light clothes for Mom. I was afraid that she would get used to the things in the hospital, so most of them are daily necessities. Do you think they're okay?" Kong Xiao looked at it. Nothing could be more comprehensive. After that, he pulled her over and kissed her. He stuffed a card into her hand. "There's more than 2 million in here. Mom is giving it to you. Don't transfer it to the home of love. This is our family's private money. If they need money, you and I will take it. I want to chat with more like-minded people about new wife number 1. Husband addicted to pampering. Follow Yuri literature on WeChat chatting about life and looking for a bosom friend." Chapter 4173. Holding the card, Sumo felt sweet, sour, and bitter in her heart. After a long time, she said softly, "Kong Xiao, sometimes I'm jealous that you have a good mother. You're a good mother who gives money." He pinched her face. "Our Mrs. Kong is so realistic." Sumo looked at him without saying anything. There was a touch of tears in her eyes. He knew that she was thinking of her family. Sumo had no family before. He reached out and took her into his arms. "Mom, and I will be your family in the future. How about I give my mother to you? She only loves you. I'm jealous of you." Then he pinched her little hand. "Look, she has given you her private money. Are you still not satisfied?" "Yes." Suemo smiled. Let's go out. As soon as they went out, they saw that there was another person in the house. It was Wen Yuan. Just when they were stunned, another person came in the door. It was Yi Mubai. Yi Mubai's voice was calm. Let's go if you're ready. Kong Xiao went over and shook hands with him. Boss Yi, thank you, and Wen Yuan. Yi Mubai smiled. Wen Yuan loves Miss Kong very much. She was worried and excited today. She wanted to fly here. Kong Xiao looked at Wen Yuan. Wen Yuan was also embarrassed. He held Miss Kong. Kong Xiao, why didn't you say so earlier? Yi Mubai answered. Yes, she cried a ton at home and forced me to find the best doctor for her. At this time, Kong Xiao knew that the reason why Qinshan agreed so readily was probably because of the Yi family. He didn't say anything. He went over and hugged Wen Yuan, whispering, Thank you, Wen Yuan. Wen Yuan looked at his CEO Yi and was in a dilemma. Su Mo said, Kong Xiao, you can put it down. I don't want to take care of you even if you're not afraid of being beaten. Kong Xiao smiled and then held Su Mo in his arms. Su Mo, my wife. Wen Yuan was stunned. Yi Mubai, on the other hand, was very calm, as if he had already expected this. Congratulations. As he spoke, he thought for a moment. All right, Kong Xiao, I bought a unit next to your villa. I'll give it to you and Su Mo as a wedding gift. Teacher Kong can live there. It's very convenient. Wen Yuan turned his head and looked at his husband. Mubai, when did you buy a villa there? CEO Yi touched his nose. He didn't tell his wife that he had bought it to live with her. He wanted to piss Kong Xiao off, but now the place had changed. Everyone already had a wife, so there was no need to fight over them. He thought for a moment and said, I have them everywhere. It's just a coincidence. Wen Yuan was skeptical, but as a man, Kong Xiao could understand this kind of dark thoughts very well. His eyes couldn't help but fall on Yi Mubai's face. CEO Yi smiled shamelessly. I'll ask Secretary He to send the key over later. Kong Xiao accepted. It was better for him to stay in this kind of house. Leaving it in Yi Mubai's hands would be a piece of evidence. However, he really owed the Yi clan a huge favor. Not just money, but a favor. Only the Yi family had the ability to call the wind and summon the rain in B City. Kong Xiao sighed in his heart, but in the end, he didn't say much. This matter was over. Teacher Kong was sent to Xingyuan Hospital. In the morning, she mainly had a checkup. Kong Xiao accompanied her and let Su Mo rest, so that she and Wen Yuan could have time to chat. They hadn't seen each other for a long time. Besides, marriage was such a big thing, so Wen Yuan would definitely ask about it. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about new wife number 1. Husband, addicted to pampering. WeChat followed Yudu literature, talking about life, looking for bosom friends. Chapter 4174. In a cafe outside the hospital, Wen Yuan drank a cup of coffee and looked up. Say it. Say what? Su Mo played dumb as usual. Wen Yuan glanced at her. About your marriage. Don't tell me that you left your fingerprint while you were asleep. Marriage. Sumo's voice was dragged out. It was obvious that she was stalling for time. However, Wen Yuan knew her very well. He pinched her face so that she wouldn't have a chance to think about it. Tell me honestly, did Kong Xiao use Teacher Kang's illness to trick you? Did you get soft-hearted and marry him after a night of sleep? Su Mo was drinking coffee to cover it up. Now that she heard it, she sprayed a mouthful of coffee straight on Wen Yuan's face. It became a little messy. I'm sorry. Let me wipe it for you. Su Mo apologized. I didn't mean it. Wen Yuan glared at her. Su Mo put on a fake smile. Wen Yuan, how can you be so good at guessing? She smiled foolishly. It was obvious that she was playing dumb. Wen Yuan wiped his face clean and reached out to knock on her hair. I'm not good at guessing. You're too stupid. Too stupid. Kong Xiao's tricks could only fool Su Mo, but Su Mo wasn't so stupid before. Now, Su Mo looked at Wen Yuan pitifully and said like a little lamb, I know you must think that I'm useless, but Wen Yuan, maybe I'm a little lonely. Or maybe I feel that when Kong Xiao needs me, I feel a sense of security when I'm with him. Stupid, Wen Yuan said again. Su Mo pitifully said in a small voice, Wen Yuan, don't act like a spoiled child in front of me. Wen Yuan looked at her. Go and act like a spoiled child in front of Kong Xiao. But I only like you. Suemo was like a puppy again. Wen Yuan laughed, then suddenly sighed. Suemo, do you think I'll blame you? He reached out and held her hand. You know, I want you to be happy. I selfishly hope that the person will be Kong Xiao, because he is also an important person to me. Besides, Teacher Kong has been looking forward to his marriage for a long time. Sumo's eyes widened. Wen Yuan, you lied to me again. I'm not lying to you. Wen Yuan stroked her hair. I'm afraid that you'll suffer. If it's Kong Xiao, at least I can guarantee that you won't be cheated by men. Moreover, Kong Xiao can take care of you. I'm not worried about that. Sumo's heart throbbed. Wen Yuan, you've never told me this before. I thought you would understand. Wen Yuan chuckled. I've always been willing to fill a bottomless pit myself. I just don't want you to one day become someone other than Suemo for the sake of money. The current Suemo was still the Suemo of the past. He had never changed. That was why Kong Xiao fell in love with him and slowly settled down. It was actually quite good. Wen Yuan smiled and lowered his voice. I'll also give you a big gift when the time comes. Just you wait. Suemo didn't say anything. He just came over and hugged her. All right, you're a woman with a husband in the future. Wen Yuan ruffled her hair. If Kong Xiao bullies you, tell me. I will teach him a lesson for you. If it doesn't work, tell Teacher Kong. She will teach Kong Xiao a lesson. Suemo nodded and took out a card. This is from Teacher Kong. It's more than 2 million yuan. Wen Yuan laughed. Look at how silly you look when you laugh. Suemo was a little embarrassed. Let's go back. The test results should be out by now. I have to stay in the hospital for the next few days. Help me visit my place occasionally. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about new wife number 1. Husband, addicted to pampering. On WeChat, she followed Yuta literature. Talk about life and find confidence. Chapter 4175. Suemo was a little embarrassed. Let's go back. The results of the test should be out by now. I have to stay in the hospital for a few days. You can go to my place occasionally. Wen Yuan nodded. Don't worry, I will. By the way, Bai Jingxian is acting like a substitute. He even went to the hospital these days. It's quite a sensation. You don't even know about it. You only know how to immerse yourself in happiness. I thought some people were lonely. Who knew that they would get married quietly? Suemo was embarrassed. She blushed and said, Oh, Wen Yuan, when did you become so good at making fun of people? Wen Yuan smiled and didn't explain. They went back to the hospital together. Qin Shun was telling Kong Xiao about Teacher Kang's condition and the operation plan. Kong Xiao listened to such difficult content with great interest. This word seemed a little scary, but he was enjoying it. He probably believed in Qin Shun, so he didn't feel any pressure. What he cared about was how much Teacher Kong would suffer. Later, when he thought of his old mother's pain after the operation, he was still very worried. Qin Shun was calm. I will use the best pain-relieving equipment. After all, 80 million yuan is very expensive. Mr. Kong, you always take care of my business. Of course, I have to take care of you. As soon as he finished speaking, an elegant male voice came from the door. I told you that you're a quack. You're lying again. Qin Shun looked over and saw her husband, Lan Yu, standing at the door. Her eyes flashed with surprise. You're back. I just got off the plane. I came to see a quack first. Lan Yu smiled faintly. Qin Shun placed a document on the table and leaned against the cabinet. His posture was very charming. He could be a man or a woman, and he could attack or defend. Lan Yu didn't care that Dr. Qin was the most popular doctor in the hospital. He only knew that she was his wife, no matter how handsome she was or whether she was wearing men's clothes today. Fortunately, her hair reached her shoulders. He went forward and kissed her. His voice was a little hoarse. What time do you get off work today? Right away. Qin Shun coughed. There's a major operation tomorrow. Leave early today. In fact, she knew that Lan Yu missed her. If she stayed with him at night, she probably wouldn't be able to endure the 10-hour operation tomorrow, so she would rather work hard during the day. After saying that, Qin Shun was ready to get off work. Lan Yu hugged her and said goodbye to the others, then left with Dr. Qin. The nurse covered her face. What a perfect picture. Mr. Lan is getting more and more handsome. Just now, I saw a woman in Dr. Qin. Wen Yuan, Wen Yuan, Wen Yuan, Wen Yuan, and Suemo Yimu Bai, Wen Yuan, Kong Xiao, and Suemo were confused. However, they knew that Qin Shun was a woman. When they saw Lan Yu, they realized that a person like Qin Shun could also fall in love with another person. When Lan Yu appeared, Qin Shun's eyes were very different. It was the eyes of someone who really liked someone. It was full of love. Qin Shun and Lan Yu got into the car together. Qin Shun's white robe had been taken off, and there was a shirt and trousers inside. As soon as they got into the car, Lan Yu couldn't wait to kiss her. After kissing for a long time, Qin Shun pushed him. What's wrong? There was a touch of love jade and evil fire in his eyes. He had been on a business trip for a long time and hadn't touched her for half a month. It was impossible for him not to miss her. He asked suspiciously, "Is your period coming?" "No. I mean, the security guard came over. He probably thought that two men were kissing in the car." Qin Shun sighed. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about new wife number 1, husband addicted to pampering. On WeChat, she followed Yudo literature, talk about life, and find a confidant. Chapter 4176. After she said that, Lan Yu gently pinched her face. "You're being naughty again." He sat up straight, closed his eyes, and sighed. "Chun Chun, after all these years, you still like to tease people." Qin Shun was not in a hurry to drive. He leaned over and asked in a low voice, "You don't like it?" Lan Yu's eyes opened a slit, and then he smiled gently. "What do you think?" He reached out and stroked her arm. "Drive. I'll sleep for a while, and then I'll feed you when we get home." "Lan Yu, you're already so old. Can't you not be so stubborn? Isn't it good to face your middle-age crisis?" "I can understand." Qin Shun smiled. "Really?" Lan Yu closed his eyes. "You're the one who doesn't want to deal with me, right?" He admitted that he was a little greedy, and he was a little passionate about the obligations between husband and wife. But when had he not served her well? How could she dislike it? Qin Shun smiled. "I don't mean anything else. I just think that middle-aged people should take care of their health." "Don't you think so?" Lan Yu snorted. He probably didn't want to change. Qin Shun didn't say anything more. He just said softly, "Sleep for a while. I'll wake you up when we arrive." Lan Yu nodded. Qin Shun drove directly back to the villa where they lived. When the car stopped, Lan Yu also woke up. Qin Shun took the initiative to kiss him. "Lan Yu, you haven't been home for a long time." Lan Yu reached out and pressed her head. They kissed quietly. After the kiss, he said in a hoarse voice, "Chun Chun, I like it when you speak so softly." Qin Shun smiled. "I missed you." Lan Yu unbuckled the seatbelt and carried her out of the car. Without bothering about the luggage, he went straight to the bedroom and went straight to the point. They were like this. When he came back from a business trip, he usually went to look for her, or he would go home. If she was really busy, he would settle things in her office and have a full meal first. After a few rounds of lovemaking, they washed up and comfortably nestled on the bed together to talk. But they couldn't fall asleep immediately because they missed each other so much. However, Qin Shun's reaction was getting slower and slower. Lan Yu lowered his head. His voice was a little hoarse. "Sleep for a while if you're tired. You still have surgery tomorrow, right?" Qin Shun grunted. "Yes, there's a big operation. You know Kong Xiao, it's his mother. The Yi family found a connection, so they can't get away from it. Secondly, there are some personal feelings. Kong Xiao is the top girl in Qin Mo's company." Lan Yu laughed. "What do you mean by top card? You make it sound like it's a duckling." Qin Shun lay in his arms. His slender and beautiful fingers gently stroked Lan Yu's chest. He chuckled. "Lan Yu, you can actually be a duckling with your performance just now. The rich women will definitely like you." Lan Yu frowned slightly. "Nonsense. How can I bear to give my energy to others? It's not enough to feed you. I was forced." Qin Shun smiled. "Actually, I like to be the one on top." Lan Yu raised his eyebrows devilishly. "Really? Let's try again." Qin Shun bit his lip. "That's not what I meant. I mean, however," Lan Yu had already taken action. Just as they were about to enter the alley, Qin Shun's phone rang. Initially, Lan Yu wanted to ignore it. However, her phone kept ringing. Qin Shun was distracted. In the end, she took the phone and looked at it. "It's my second brother." Lan Yu wanted to be closer. She pushed him with her hand and turned to the side. She mouthed, "Stop it." Chapter 4177. Lan Yu lay on the bed with his hands covering his eyes. He let out a long sigh. This second brother-in-law of his had even ruined the couple's sex life many times. He got up and said, "I'm going to take a shower." Qinshan knew that he was a little angry. He covered the phone and said, "I'll make it up to you later." Lan Yu came over and bit the tip of her nose. "Mrs. Lan, how many times do you think you owe me?" Qinshan smiled and continued to talk to Qin Mo while listening to the sounds coming from the bathroom. When Lan Yu came out, he only had a narrow bath towel around his waist. He looked at Qinshan and was a little worried. He went over and asked, "What's wrong?" Qinshan was a little stunned. After a long time, he said, "My brother hurt He Huan. I have to go and have a look." Lan Yu was also stunned. He frowned and said, "How can that be? Doesn't Qin Mo love your sister-in-law the most? He Huan is also young. If Qin Mo goes crazy, he won't be able to withstand the torture." Qinshan was helpless. "That's right. I don't know what's wrong with Qin Mo. He just cares about that Rongyu. He has the same name as our son. He has a knot in his heart. Even if He Huan gets close to our son, he will still be suspicious. Why don't we change our name? Isn't it better to call him Lan Yu?" Lan Yu said sourly. In fact, he also minded it. Xiao Rongyu was his son, but Qinshan still kept the surname Rong. Although Rong Lei was an evil person, he knew that Rong Lei had a place in Qinshan's heart. After he finished speaking, Qinshan smiled. "Have you minded it for a long time?" "No." Lan Yu smiled. "Am I such a petty person?" "Maybe." Qinshan also got out of bed. "I have to go take a look. You stay at home and rest." Just as she was about to change, Lan Yu grabbed her hand. "I'll go with you. I'll drive. I'm worried about you going alone." Qinshan turned his head, looked at him, and agreed. After being done with by him a few times, she was really tired. She didn't know where he got his energy from when he was already in his 40s. Qinshan and Lan Yu changed their clothes and went to the hospital where Qin Mo and He Huan were. As soon as he entered the ward, Qinshan was stunned. She originally thought that Qin Mo was just a little violent when it came to the matters between husband and wife. But when she saw He Huan, she was quite shocked. His injuries were quite severe. There were bruises all over his body, and there were even marks on his neck where he had been choked. There were obvious fingerprints. He Huan lay quietly and looked at the ceiling while Qin Mo stood beside her. Qinshan went over and said in a low voice, "Brother, what happened?" Qin Mo's gaze fell on He Huan's face. He said in a hoarse voice, "She met Rongyu and I brought her home." Qinshan almost couldn't listen to him anymore. She interrupted Qin Mo, "He Huan is your wife. Brother, she's not like those women who could be manipulated at will." She was speechless. She could imagine how serious He Huan's injuries were. She went over and whispered into He Huan's ear, "Second sister-in-law, let me help you check, okay?" At this time, Lan Yu dragged Qin Mo out. Lan Yu was also quite helpless. As Qinshan's husband, he certainly knew that Qin Mo's only weakness was He Huan, and He Huan didn't like him very much. The couple's relationship was like walking on thin ice. Lan Yu handed over a cigarette and lit it for Qin Mo. Then, he patted his shoulder and said, "You can't be so violent even if you're quarreling." Chapter 4178. They were all adults, and they could tell that this was something that would only happen when one was furious and close to rape. He Huan's injuries should be quite serious. This time around, she was probably deeply hurt. Not to mention love, even ordinary familial love would be worn out. Moreover, He Huan's parents probably wouldn't agree to it either. Landing didn't know how to comfort her and could only accompany Qin Mo to smoke. After a while, he said, "Do you have any plans?" Qin Mo raised his head. She said she wanted a divorce, and that's why I did it. Lan Yu, sometimes I wonder if I'm wrong. I've liked her for so many years, but all I've brought to her is restraint, unhappiness, and hurt. You don't know how she looks at me now. It's all fear. He wasn't a violent person, but this time around, he really did hit He Huan. Qin Mo felt that he was a pitiful person who couldn't get what he loved. He laughed at himself and smoked slowly. Without saying a word, he continued to look into the distance. After a long time, Qinshin came out with a serious expression. Brother, Huan's injuries are quite serious. I've talked to her doctor, and apart from a violent tear, she also has soft tissue injuries. It seems like she'll have to rest for a month. Her eyes were filled with disapproval. Brother, if you really love Huan, let her go. She looked at Huan pitifully too. Qin Mo's eyes narrowed. He clenched his fists. After a long time, he said in a hoarse voice, You asked me to let her go, but who will let me go? If he had known that he wasn't the one she loved, he wouldn't have been so foolish and delusional for so many years. How could he tell who was right and who was wrong when it came to love and hate between him and Huan? But now, she wasn't the only one who was disheartened. He was too. Mo looked down. Tell her that I'll find someone to take care of her. If she doesn't want to go back, she can move out and live on her own for the time being. I'll consider our marriage carefully. As for Huan, tell her not to even think about it. Hearing that, Qinshin couldn't help but say, Brother, aren't you going too far? She was the one who gave birth to Huan. Aren't you being too unreasonable? Mo was silent for a while before he said in a low voice, Even if Huan had to choose, she would choose me. Who would choose a mother who runs around all day? Huan only has her own career. She won't be able to give it up and return home. Mo closed his eyes and said, Just tell her that. He added, I haven't thought about it yet. If we really end things, I won't miss out on a single cent of the compensation. Qinshin was startled. After a while, he said, If you let go, you'll regret it. At the very least, it's unwise to let go now. Even if they didn't wish each other well, they shouldn't hate each other as much as they did now. She could tell that Huan liked Mo in the past. Qinshin really didn't know how they managed their marriage to end up like this. Perhaps Mo shouldn't have let Huan leave back then. Qinshin couldn't say anything more. However, she said that she didn't want to be a mouthpiece. She couldn't say such heartless words. If he wanted to say it, she would say it to Huan herself. She didn't believe that Mo could say such words to Huan. However, she was wrong. The relationship between Mo and Huan had reached a freezing point. When he saw Huan and Rongyu meeting, he made her promise to never see him again. When Huan refused, he used force and said a lot of heartless words. Chapter 4179. When he saw Huan and Rongyu meeting, he made her promise that she would never see him again. When Huan refused, he used force and said a lot of heartless words. What harm was there in saying a few more words now? After Qinshin and Lanyu left, Mo returned to the ward. Huan was still lying quietly. Mo sat beside her and held her hand. His voice was slightly hoarse. I've already informed your parents to come and take care of you. Huan, you can sue me. Her gaze fell on his face. After a while, she said softly, I know what you're thinking. You must be thinking that if Huan doesn't belong to me after the divorce, you can compensate me with money. You can even date any man I want, right? Mo didn't deny it. He stared at her for a while, then got up and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. He stood there quietly, as if he was thinking. Huan lay there and didn't rush him. They had been like this for many years, and he finally broke out. Huan didn't want to explain to him that she and Rongyu just happened to know each other. It was normal for them to have a drink and talk. She liked Rongyu's work very much. She was a director and had a passion for creating. This had nothing to do with personal feelings. And Mo had never understood her, let alone supported her. She had once thought that she could be a good mother for Huan. She could stay in B City every 2 or 3 years to shoot a film. She could make appropriate sacrifices so that Huan could have a normal family. But now she felt that she was abnormal, and so was Mo. Huan had known him for many years. She could guess what he was thinking. He was thinking about divorce. Indeed, she had wanted to get a divorce for many years, but now she had to consider it. It was because of Huan. She was waiting for his decision before thinking about it. In addition to feeling depressed, she was also a little afraid of him. She couldn't imagine lying on his bed in the future. She felt that she would suffocate to death. She was extremely afraid of his violence in bed. He was like a madman. Mo was no longer the person he used to be. Tears welled up in Huan's eyes. She tried to turn her face away, but he didn't give her the chance to do so. He turned around and saw her tears. If it was in the past, he would have been heartbroken, but now that she was in this state, he did not feel any pain because his heart was in more pain than hers. What's more painful than always thinking that you're loved, only to find out that the person you love was never you until you're about to get married? What's more painful than hearing your wife call someone else's name in her sleep in the middle of the night? At that time, the pain in Qin Mo's heart was called Rongyu. As for He Huan, he never knew how much he loved her. Now, even he himself couldn't remember what he loved about her in the past. Was it her princess-like appearance and personality, or something else? Perhaps it was his instinct, and he was born to like He Huan. This love was now fading. He allowed it to fade away and did not hold her back, so he made a move on her. Ah! Qin Mo laughed coldly, a little self-deprecating. We're finally evil in each other's hearts. After saying that, he looked at He Huan quietly. Let's get a divorce. He Huan lay there without moving. It was as if she had lost consciousness, quietly listening to what he said. After a long time, she found her voice. Okay, she said. Then, she closed her eyes and refused to look at him again. Qin Mo let out a long breath. When you're better, I'll ask the lawyer to come and talk. Chapter 4180. Qin Mo thought that he was finally a little tired. He was tired of chasing after someone like that. He had once loved someone deeply and was ecstatic over the course of love. But later on, he started to hate her. When love and hate intertwined within his body, he rarely felt any sweetness, only pain. Therefore, he felt that he should just give up. That would be the best for everyone. After so many years, there was no point in dragging it out. It wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision, but a decision that he had made after torturing each other for many years. Qin Mo said hoarsely, "You can call me if you need anything." He Huan did not speak the entire time, merely lying there quietly, as though she had lost her life. After a long time, she said softly, "I don't have anything I want. That's fine too. I'll wait for your parents outside," he said calmly. He Huan realized that he said, "Your parents" instead of mom and dad. She knew that he was intending to let go completely. She should be happy, but her body and heart were in so much pain that she could not bring herself to be happy. She could not bear to part with He Huan either. She lay there quietly for a while before saying softly, "About the divorce, let me think about it." Qin Mo knew that she was worried about He Huan, and he also knew that she had requirements for He Huan's upbringing and visitation. He said calmly, "I won't make things too difficult for you. After all, He Huan is still young and needs a mother, even though you haven't been competent all these years." "That's right, I haven't been competent," He Huan murmured softly, her eyes burning. She reached out to cover her eyes, not wanting him to look at her anymore. Qin Mo looked at her silently. Just as he was about to say something, the door of the ward opened. It was Uncle Kaim, He Shusheng, and He Huan's mother, Su Cheng. Other than that, Qin Anlin and Yu Liangxiu came over as well. With something as big as this happening, it was impossible for them to not come over as elders. Looking at the state He Huan was in, the elders did not know what to say, especially Su Cheng. He Huan was her flesh and blood, so she was the one who cared about her the most. She went over and asked her in a low voice, but He Huan only said that she was fine. In the end, only Su Cheng accompanied He Huan while the others went to a small reception room next door. Yu Liangxiu felt extremely guilty. She comforted He Huan and apologized to Su Cheng. As a mother, she had to be humble at this time. Moreover, she had a good relationship with Su Cheng. Moreover, she had watched He Huan grow up. Under these circumstances, she was embarrassed. He Huan didn't get angry because of this. Instead, she whispered that she was fine and called Yu Liangxiu aunt. Yu Liangxiu was stunned. So did Su Cheng. They had always thought that Qin Mo was too heavy-handed with the young couple, but they didn't expect things to escalate to this extent. Although Qin Mo was in the wrong this time, they knew that Qin Mo liked He Huan for so many years. It would be a pity if they divorced now. Yu Liangxiu thought that if they divorced, her son would probably be depressed for a long time, although he was the one who did it. In the small guest room, Kaim couldn't make a move, so Qin Anlin slapped his son twice and lectured him harshly, What kind of man are you to hit your wife? Chinamo, you're too much. Look at how well your big brother dotes on his wife. Shuer is so old, but she's acting like a little girl in her early 20s. Chinamo did not retaliate. Instead, he took a step back and tilted his head to the side. It was as though he was staring and reminiscing. After a while, he said softly, Dad, Juan and I might be getting a divorce. I want to chat with more like-minded people about new wife number 1, husband, addicted to pampering, talking about life, and looking for bosom friends, recommending the urban guru, Shi Shinshu. Chapter 4181. Qin Anlin was a little breathless after hitting him twice. When he heard what Chinamo said, his eyes widened. What divorce? You're a muddle-headed bastard. Did I raise you up so that you could get a divorce? Chinamo didn't refute. He just lowered his eyes and said softly, Dad, I've made up my mind. Qin Anlin wanted to hit him again, but Kaim stopped him and sighed. Anlin, I know you want to stand up for me. That's why you're acting like this. You've already scolded Chinamo. If they want a divorce, it's really their own problem. There's no need to hit or scold them. As long as they don't regret their decision, it's fine. Kaim looked at Chinamo and said gently, I know you've been waiting for Juan all these years. Now that you don't want to wait anymore, your aunt and I won't make things difficult for you. Since you can't be together, it's better to separate. However, Uncle Chinamo has something to say to you. Chinamo didn't say anything. He continued, You know Juan's personality. After a divorce, she won't take the initiative to come back. Even if she wants to, I won't say much. But if you want to come back, Chinamo, as your parents, we won't allow it. Chinmo's body trembled. Kaim smiled bitterly. I won't scold you, because I know you have Juan in your heart. We can't forgive you for hitting her, but we can't interfere in the affairs of a husband and wife. However, after hitting her, you want to divorce her. Seeing how resolute you are, I think it's your idea, and you brought it up. So since we've reached this point, it's decided. In the future, whether you regret it or not, Juan won't rely on you anymore. Chinamo was even more speechless. It was as if something was stuck in his throat. But Qin Anlin asked in a rough voice, Do you still want a divorce, you brat? Do you think divorce is that simple? Marriage is that simple? Do you know that your mother and I, your Uncle Kaim and Annie Sue, are together because of me? You guys live a simple life, and the country is prosperous and the people are at peace. You don't know that everything else in this world is trivial except for life and death. You beat your wife like this, and you still have the nerve to mention divorce? Qin Mo frowned. Dad, Kaim said faintly, Don't say any more and lawn. Marriage isn't something that can be forced. I know Juan's temper, and they don't get along. Su Chung also said that Juan has wasted Qin Mo's life for the past few years. This time it's settled. Let's not talk about it anymore. Juan still has to take care of. As he spoke, his voice also choked slightly. He patted Qin Anlin's shoulder. For Juan's sake. After saying that, Kaim left on his own. Only the father and son were left in the small reception room. Qin Anlin stared at Qin Mo. I really want to bite you to death. Qin Mo slumped onto the sofa and rubbed his forehead with one hand. His voice was very soft. Dad, I was afraid. I was afraid that I would kill Juan. At that time, Juan had been tortured by him for a whole night. She lay there as if she had lost her life. However, she did not cry out in pain, nor did she ask him to send her to the hospital. At that time, he thought to divorce her. She must hate him to the core. Qin Anlin looked at his son and found a trace of pain on his face. He lit a cigarette, not for himself, but for Chinamo. Have a cigarette. Think about it again. Chapter 4182. There's no need to think about it, Qin Mo murmured. I don't want to wait any longer, Dad. I don't think I can wait any longer. He didn't know that he had been so close to getting it, but he had missed it. When he turned back, Juan was long gone. Even though he had waited for her, every time she thought of that scene, she still couldn't be like before. They had missed each other so much that they had come to this point. Uncle Kaim said that if they divorced, they shouldn't regret it. Juan wouldn't turn back, and as her parents, they wouldn't agree either. How could Qin Mo not know that? So, after thinking about it for so many years, How could he have known that this would be the result? He just wanted a promise to never see Rongyu. Everyone knew that Rongyu was his bottom line, but Huan didn't know. Or she pretended not to know. Because she didn't love him and didn't care about him, she didn't know when he was hurting, and she didn't want to know. So he hurt her. But when she hurt, he hurt even more. He didn't want to feel sorry for her anymore. So they divorced. Qin and Mo smiled bitterly and closed his eyes. Finally, they were going to divorce. He and Huan had known each other for many years, but now that he thought of her, he could only remember her looking at him in fear on the bed, her body covered in wounds. Qin and Mo covered his hand, not wanting to think about it. He couldn't accept that he was the one who hurt her more than anyone else. He used to treat her like the apple of his eye. Because of the relationship between the two families, once Qin Mo's family got violent, Huan's matter cooled down. Huan had been well protected and lived in the Qin family's old mansion, while Su Chang took care of Huan, waiting for her to be discharged from the hospital to discuss the divorce. Qin and Mo didn't come back after that. He lived alone in the condominium and didn't sleep on the bed. Whenever he saw it, he would be reminded of the violence he had done to Huan. He started to lose sleep and drove to the hospital in the middle of the night. He didn't go in to see her, only sitting at the door. Su Ching saw him once, but didn't say anything, just brushing past him. How could a mother not feel resentful? Huan had to rest for at least half a month with her injuries. Which mother wouldn't feel sorry for her? Qin Mo's lips moved, and he called her Auntie. Su Cheng stopped and turned her head, expressionless. Are you here to see Huan? Qin and Mo stepped forward. How is she? It's not good. He has to stay in the hospital for another week. Su Cheng's voice was a little low. He always has a recurring fever. As for the reason for the fever, Qin and Mo should know. Qin and Mo narrowed his eyes. It's my fault. Su Cheng didn't blame him. She just said lightly, I heard from your Uncle He that you've decided to divorce. Since you've made the decision, don't be reluctant anymore. I'll take care of Su Cheng here. Don't worry. If there's anything else, wait until she's better. It's too cruel to talk about divorce now. Don't you think so, Qin and Mo? These words caused Qin and Mo to be speechless. He could only lower his eyes and say nothing. Su Cheng didn't make things difficult for him. She pushed the door open and went in. In the middle of the night, Huan woke up and leaned against the headboard quietly. No one knew what she was thinking. Su Cheng closed the door. Did you hear that? Huan looked up and said in a low voice, Yes, I heard it. Su Cheng sat beside her, peeled a fruit for her, and handed it to her. What do you think? Huan didn't answer directly. Instead, she asked her mother, Mom, if it were you and Dad, would you not divorce because of me? Chapter 4183. Su Cheng shook her head. I don't know. Huan, no one can make a decision for you. All you need to think about is your happiness and happiness, right? Huan shook her head. Then, she hugged her knees and blinked gently. Mom, my marriage with Qin and Mo is not his fault alone. When I married him, I didn't love him, but later on, I liked him. I don't know how things turn out like this. When I came back, I thought about living like this for the sake of Huan. But maybe I'm too stubborn and I don't want to submit to his arrangements. He cares too much about my past. Mom, maybe it's for the best. Let's just leave it at that. It was the first time that Su Cheng had heard Huan say this. She was a little shocked. She had always thought that Huan had never liked Qin and Mo. But now it was like this. She couldn't help but ask, Do you want to reconsider? Huan shook her head. No, he asked for a divorce. Besides, I won't give up on something that I have persevered for so long just for someone. I don't want to become another person. Why would she beg Qin Mo not to divorce after he hit her and asked for a divorce? He appeared now, probably because he was as sad as she was that they had ended in such a terrible way. Actually, they could have separated in a dignified manner a few years ago. Huan didn't eat the fruits. She placed them neatly at the head of the bed. After a long time, she said, Mom, let him leave. Just tell him that I don't hate him. Just take it as the price he had to pay for waiting for all these years. Su Cheng sighed and went out. Qin and Mo was smoking in the corridor. When he saw Su Cheng, he immediately put out the cigarette. How is she? Su Cheng walked to him. She used to be very satisfied with Qin and Mo because Qin and Mo was the child of Qin Anlin and Yilianxiu. He was like half a son to her. But now, things were different. She felt a little complicated. After a while, she asked, Qin Mo, do you regret it? Qin Mo clenched his fingers. What did she say? Doesn't she want a divorce? Su Chang shook her head and said softly, He Huan wants you to go back. She said she doesn't hate you. Qin Mo was stunned. That was it. Why did he feel even more disappointed when she said she didn't hate him? Su Chang still sighed. Qin Mo, you can't be too greedy. It's already very decent of you to break up like this. Don't come again. I don't know what to say to you. Everything was fine. Just pretend that you and He Huan are not fated to be together. Find a girl and live a good life together. She turned to leave. Qin Mo suddenly said, Aunt Su, are you going to let He Huan go on a blind date? Su Chang was stunned. After a long while, she said, It depends on her. It's best if she has someone she likes. If she doesn't, the family will make arrangements for her. She can't be naked for the rest of her life. Qin Mo, we have to look forward, don't you think so? Qin Mo knew what she meant. He wouldn't be single. His family would make arrangements for him. There would even be many women sticking to him. How could the CEO of King Entertainment lack women? There were many women who wanted to be the CEO of King Entertainment. Su Chang went in and didn't come out again. Now, Qin Mo felt that there was no reason for him to stay. He drove away. His mind was filled with Su Chang's words. She would look for a blind date for He Huan. His fingers tightened on the steering wheel. He and He Huan were still legally married. They were on the same household register. Her family had already thought of a way out. Wasn't that normal? He was the one who said he wanted a divorce. Wasn't that a normal reaction? At that moment, he realized what Uncle Kaim had said. He wanted to go back. As her parents, they wouldn't agree to it. After the family violence, he had a chance to be forgiven by the elders. He didn't want it. In the future, He Huan might be Rong Yu's wife or someone else's wife. But she would never be Qin Mo's wife again. He wanted to chat with more like-minded people about new wife number 1, hubby addicted to pampering. He followed Yuta literature on WeChat, talking about life and looking for a confidant. Chapter 4184. While Qin Mo and He Huan were arguing for a divorce, things are going smoothly for the Kong family. Teacher Kang's surgery was very successful, and she recovered very well within a week. This was also attributed to the comfort in her heart. When a person was in a good mood, they would have something to look forward to, which was more useful than any supplements. Qin Shun checked Teacher Kong and smiled. The old lady is recovering very well. It's a miracle. Kong Xiao thanked him profusely. For a person like Kong Xiao, success and recognition were enough in life, especially since he had a wife. His only regret was that he had let down his old mother. Now that Teacher Kong could live for a few more years, Kong Xiao felt very comforted. He purposely went to Qin Shen's office, but he didn't give him money. In fact, Qin Shen loved money the most. Kong Xiao gave him a top-notch coffee, knowing that Qin Shen liked it. Qin Shen didn't stand on ceremony. He took it off and smelled it, knowing that it was the best, so he raised his eyebrows. Thanks. Then, he served Kong Xiao a cup of coffee he brewed himself. They were very familiar with each other, so they chatted about daily life. I heard that my second sister-in-law, who is He Huan, asked you to act in a movie called Twin. You turned it down? Kong Xiao nodded. Yes, because of various reasons, I turned it down. He had heard about President Qin's family affairs, so he asked out of concern, I heard that director, he is sick. How is she now? Qin Shen took a sip of coffee, then looked up at Kong Xiao silently, and said slowly, my second brother and she might be getting a divorce. It will probably be done in a few days. Kong Xiao was stunned and didn't know what to say for a moment. Qin Shen smiled faintly. Their personalities might really be incompatible. He Huan is very independent, and Qin Mo wants a little wife to raise at home. Maybe it's better for them to separate. After a while, Kong Xiao said, I'll visit director He when I'm free. Don't. He Huan is quite a strong-willed person. She will probably contact you later. I think she will continue filming that film after she parted ways with my second brother. Qin Shen smiled. Actually, I think my second brother is overreacting. There are bound to be misunderstandings and conflicts between husband and wife. Qin Mo might have loved her so deeply that he didn't know how to get along with Yi Huan. After Qin Shen finished speaking, Kong Xiao felt a little emotional, but after all, it was President Qin's family affairs, so he couldn't say too much. Now that Qin Shen had revealed it to him, it was obvious that he wanted him to make a choice between King Entertainment and Yi Huan. This could be considered a favor from Qin Shen. When Kong Xiao returned to the ward, Su Mo, who was taking care of Mr. Kong, fell asleep. When he saw Kong Xiao, he asked in a low voice, "What's wrong? You don't look too well." Kong Xiao walked to the side with her and said in a low voice, "President Qin and Yi Huan might be parting ways. Just now, Qin Shen told me that he wanted me to consider if I should cooperate with Director He." Su Mo was married to Kong Xiao now, so of course she didn't care about Kong Xiao's career at all. Moreover, she used to be a manager, so she was very familiar with this aspect. She bit her lip and said, "What do you think?" Kong Xiao was a little amused. "Are you concerned about me? How can I not be concerned? Mom and I are counting on you to support us, and the baby also needs money for milk powder in the future." Su Mo placed her hand on his leg. "Mr. Kong, you're still under a lot of pressure." Kong Xiao smiled faintly. "I thought I could do whatever I want with my current assets." She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about new wife number one, husband addicted to pampering. On WeChat, she followed Yudo literature, talking about life, looking for bosom friends. Chapter 4185. He knew that although the home of love had to spend some money from time to time, it was famous, so there was no need to subsidize a lot. Moreover, Su Mo and his mother were not extravagant people, so raising a child, he leaned over and pressed his forehead against hers, lowering his voice. "Are you really willing to have children with me? How many are you going to have? I promise that every one of them will be white and chubby." Su Mo licked her lower lip. "When mom's condition stabilizes, we'll have children, okay?" Kong Xiao smiled faintly and said, "Okay." He hugged her and did nothing but leaned against Su Mo's head. Both he and Su Mo came from ordinary families, and Su Mo had a fragmented past, so once he made up his mind, he would not change it. He and Su Mo would never be like President Qin and Director He. In fact, feelings were very simple. Love or not love. If one couldn't figure out, they would often take a lot of detours, just like before. Kong Xiao pursed his lips and sighed silently. A few days later, Teacher Kong was discharged from the hospital. Kong Xiao took her and Su Mo home together, and also opened a villa given by Yi Mubai next door. The decoration was very good, but Teacher Kong insisted on living alone. Kong Xiao also acquiesced. In addition to the original aunt, there was another aunt. Su Mo complained to him, "Mom's health is not good. How can you let her live alone?" Kong Xiao took off his coat and pulled Su Mo to sit next to him. He reached out and stroked her hair, smiling. "My mom is used to it. Besides, it's just next door. You can walk for a minute. You can accompany her during the day, and we can come back at night to sleep. It's no different from living together, and my mom will be at ease this way." As he said, he pinched her face. "Do you think you could be at ease when you're with her? After all, we're from two different generations. I can't always sit still, and there will always be times when we're intimate. If we bump into each other, everyone will feel uncomfortable." Su Mo just stared at him, not saying anything. Kong Xiao patted her hand. "Wait a minute." She looked at him, not understanding what he was trying to do. Kong Xiao walked to the bookcase and pulled open a door. Inside was a safe. He keyed in a set of passwords and opened it. He took out a booklet and placed it in Su Mo's hands. "This is my savings over the years. Some of them are invested in companies and stocks. These are not touched. There are also some houses that are being rented. My financial consultant is managing them. The annual rent is about 10 to 20 million. You can keep this in your hands." Su Mo looked at him and opened the booklet again. When he took a look, his eyes were dazzled. There were a lot of zeros. She counted and found that there were more than 4 billion. Kong Xiao squatted beside her and murmured, including the stocks and real estate in his hands, he should have about 7 billion. He might not be a wealthy family, but it should be enough to support a family. Sumo looked at the book, then at him. Do you really want me to manage this? Aren't you afraid that I will lose all of them? I won't. He smiled. You're not that stupid. Look at how much you've spent and how much you gotten back. Don't you think you're stupid? Sumo thought about it and felt that she was quite smart. She couldn't help but laugh and wave the booklet in her hands. From now on, I'm a little rich woman. Kong Xiao held her hand. Then can I not renew the contract with King Entertainment and do what I like? Sumo looked at him. He smiled. I want to do something that I like. I really want to act in this film. I had no choice in the past. Now, do you object? She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about new wife number 1. Husband, addicted to pampering. On WeChat, she followed Yudu literature, talking about life and looking for bosom friends. Chapter 4186. For a moment, Sumo knew why he was showing her this and felt touched. Kong Xiao was just telling her that he had earned enough to live on and that even if he didn't earn money in the future, she and the child would still have enough to eat and wear. She hugged him and said hoarsely, Kong Xiao, you are actually an old husband and a good father. Does that mean you agree? He whispered into her ear. Sumo did not say anything, only nodding silently. Kong Xiao caressed her head and pressed his face against hers. After a while, he asked her softly, Are we going to have a child now? Sumo was stunned and glared at him. Kong Xiao, can you be more serious? This is serious. Look, I'm almost 40 and Mom is in good health, and she has someone to take care of her. If you have a child earlier, she will be happy and live to a ripe old age. Don't you want Mom to live to a ripe old age? As Kong Xiao spoke, he had already carried Sumo to the big bed and pressed her down to kiss her. Sumo helplessly accepted his kiss and said in a low voice, You are simply just twisting words and forcing logic. How can there be such a fallacious logic? Kong Xiao chuckled and kissed her while caressing her face in a manly manner. That's the logic in my bed. After all, they hadn't done it for many days and they had just gotten together. He pressed her down a few times. He had always been shameless, and Sumo couldn't do anything about it. Thus, she didn't say anything more and didn't ask for contraception. He didn't have any protection either. When he said that he was worried about her health, it was like a fart. She would be damned if she believed a man's words. However, Kong Xiao was really nice to her and Teacher Kong. They didn't have a wedding after getting their marriage certificate and were just living together. It was perfect in all aspects. Kong Xiao officially terminated his contract with King Entertainment. It would take effect in about 2 months. When the contract expired, both parties would part ways. However, since they were friends, Kong Xiao wasn't too heartless. He returned some resources to King Entertainment. Qin Imo knew what he meant. He called him over to have a good talk, but couldn't keep him. They were the boss and the artist and could be considered friends. They sat on the sofa and smoked a few cigarettes. After a while, Qin Imo asked in a low voice, Did Qin tell you the news? That's why you made this decision, right? Kong Xiao smiled bitterly. President Qin is really perceptive. It's not that I'm perceptive. I just know that you really want this role. Qin Imo raised his head and smiled. I just didn't expect you to put in so much effort. You know that you can count the money lying down if you stay at King Entertainment. You have a lot of money on you. Kong Xiao smiled faintly. I can lay down and earn money, but President Qin, I just want to do something that I like. Something you like? Qin Imo muttered to himself. Is it that important? Kong Xiao understood what he meant and said softly, I've discussed it with Sumo. She supports it. Qin Imo stared at her for a long time before he suddenly laughed. It's good that she agrees. As he spoke, he sighed. Did he also want to do something that she liked? He didn't object. As long as she didn't act in Rongyu's script, she could do whatever she wanted, even if it was overseas. He couldn't stand her meeting Rongyu, because when they met, he would remember how she had married him and how she had woken up calling Rongyu's name on their wedding night. He wanted to chat with more like-minded people about new wife number 1, hubby, addicted to pampering. On WeChat, he followed Yudu literature, talking about life and looking for a confidant. Chapter 4187. He was a little sick, so sick that Qin Shun had changed his son's name to Lan Yu. There seemed to be no other way but to let He Huan go. Qin Mo didn't make things difficult for Kong Xiao. After all, he had been King Entertainment's cash cow for many years. They parted on good terms. Moreover, Kong Xiao hadn't done anything wrong to the company. Thus, he said calmly, "The company will hold a cocktail party to send you off." Kong Xiao didn't refuse. They were both adults, and they might work together in the future. He might still be in contact with King Entertainment after he started a company. Kong Xiao said some words of thanks to put an end to it. Qin Mo patted his shoulder. Understand, they didn't talk about He Huan. Actually, they both knew that Kong Xiao had left King Entertainment because of that film. If they had to film it, Qin Mo would rather it be Kong Xiao, because Kong Xiao wouldn't have anything to do with He Huan. He couldn't stand He Huan having anything to do with a man like Ji Rongyue while filming, even if they were going to divorce. After Kong Xiao left, Qin Mo sat in the office alone for a long time. He hadn't visited He Huan for more than a week. He heard that she had been taken back to the He family. When he went to the Qin mansion, He Huan would ask where his mother had gone. He would tell He Huan that his mother had gone to America, just like before. He Huan's expression was one of disappointment. At that moment, he wondered if he was wrong. Was he too selfish? He only cared about his own feelings and didn't leave a way out for He Huan. However, he had already said it. Whether it was between them or between the two families, the divorce was set in stone. Qin Mo couldn't go back on his word even if he wanted to. Besides, he had no intention of doing it. As he was thinking, the phone in his hand rang. He picked it up and glanced at it casually. Then his body tensed up. It was He Huan. He probably knew what she was calling for. He didn't say anything for a long time. He Huan said faintly, "Qin Mo, I want to talk to you." Qin Mo gripped the phone tightly, and his voice was hoarse. "Are you talking about divorce?" Her silence was a tacit admission. After a while, she whispered, "I'm going to the United States next week. I want to get things done in the next few days." Qin Mo suddenly said, "He Huan has been asking about you these past 2 days." He Huan was stunned. Then, she felt her heart ache. She said anxiously, "Can we meet and talk?" He knew that she was anxious because of He Huan. He actually didn't want to help her. He felt a little guilty towards her, but more than that, he hated her. He hated her for not loving him. Hated her for meeting Rong Yu so easily. Hated her for filming Rong Yu's love story. That story was so similar to her and Rong Yu. Everything she did made him, Qin Mo, look like a fool. In the end, he relented. "Come to my office tomorrow. I'll have a lawyer come over." "You can also hire a lawyer." "No need." Her voice was very soft. "I don't have too many requests." He interrupted her. "It's best to hire one. Divorce is not as simple as you think, especially when it comes to children's visitation. I think you don't know the situation at home after being abroad for a long time." He Huan was stunned for a moment. Then she said, "Okay." However, early the next morning, she still came alone. When she passed the front desk, the receptionist spread the news. "I heard that this and President Qin are going to divorce. It's this, there's someone outside." President Qin can't stand it anymore. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people about new wife number 1, husband, addicted to pampering. WeChat followed. You read literature, talking about life, looking for bosom friends. Chapter 4188. It can't be. President Qin is so handsome. Isn't he satisfied? The other was surprised. Who knows? Maybe he has a special hobby. Everyone has different tastes. I heard that he is a writer. He has a very good temperament. By the way, he is also very good looking. He is 80% similar to President Qin, but his temperament is different. He is especially elegant. Aren't authors supposed to be bald? How can he compare with our President Qin? President Qin is handsome, rich, and has a very tall nose. Haven't you noticed? What if the writer has a taller nose? He Huan didn't hear what they said after entering the elevator. She had never cared about such things. When she reached the top floor, Qin Mo's secretary greeted her at the elevator. "Madam, President Qin has been waiting for you for a long time." He Huan paused for a moment. "Just call me He Huan." The secretary just smiled and didn't say anything. She led He-Huan all the way to Qin Mo's office. In the office, apart from Qin Mo, there was another lawyer. He-Huan also knew him, so she nodded and sat down on the sofa. The secretary served fruit tea and kindly led them to the door. Qin Mo stood in the direction of the floor-to-ceiling window. Then, he turned his head and looked at He-Huan. "You are here. Why didn't you bring a lawyer?" His tone was very normal, as if nothing had happened. It was more like they were just in a cooperative relationship. He-Huan shook her head. "It's not that complicated. I don't need it." Qin Mo glanced at her and then took a document from the lawyer. "Take a look. If there are no problems, we will sign it." He-Huan lowered her head and looked at it silently. Qin Mo was very generous in terms of financial compensation. It was about 2 billion yuan, all under his personal property. However, when it came to Ji-Huan's visitation, he was more strict and unreasonable. It was stated that she was not allowed to bring Yi-Huan out of the country, nor could she bring Yi-Huan out of City B. She was also not allowed to visit Yi-Huan for more than 8 hours at a time. She could not stay overnight, and she could not visit Yi-Huan more than 4 times a month. Yi-Huan let out a long breath and looked up at Qin Mo. Qin Mo continued. "If you can't accept it, we can file a lawsuit and let the court decide. But considering the time you have spent taking care of the child these years, the judge will be more inclined to let me take care of her." He-Huan also knew in her heart that with Qin Mo's power, it was useless for her to file a lawsuit. However, she felt a little pain in her heart. If her freedom was based on giving up Yi-Huan, she might not feel at ease in her life. However, this marriage was indeed going to be divorced. She didn't have the habit of begging people, let alone a man who attacked her. He-Huan finished reading the document and flipped to the last page. That was where she needed his signature. She looked at him silently for a long time. "Hey," and a pen was T. Qin Mo's voice was slightly hoarse. "I'm not that unreasonable. He-Huan, if you want to see He-Huan, you can come to my parents' house anytime, as long as you don't take her away." He-Huan looked down and suddenly asked, "What if you remarry?" Qin Mo leaned against the back of the chair and said in a low voice, "Yi-Huan is also your child. You can still see her if you want." He didn't say anything else. He was even more unwilling to talk to her about remarrying, because he remembered that Uncle Keim had said that they had to find their own people after the divorce. He didn't have any ideas for the time being, but Yi-Huan had a ready-made candidate. Chapter 4189. He looked at her. "What about you? Will you still remember that you had a daughter after you remarry?" Yi-Huan's temper was not very good either. Her facial expression was not pleasant, and they almost quarreled. The lawyer saw that the wind was blowing in the right direction and left. There were only the two of them in the big office. Since there was no one around, Yi-Huan did not have to worry anymore. "Qin Mo, you don't have to say that. Aren't you talking about me and Rongyu?" Qin Mo narrowed his eyes. Yi-Huan picked up the pen and whispered, "Yes, I will be with him immediately after our divorce." She was probably so angry that she quickly signed the contract. Her pen was so strong that it almost scratched the paper. Qin Mo watched from the side with his fingers clenched tightly. He said coldly, "You must not have seen the last clause. For the sake of Yi-Huan's growth, she is not allowed to remarry before she is 10 years old." Yi-Huan was stunned. She flipped through the pages and saw a small line of words. It was indeed written like that. Actually, she did not care about remarrying and did not want to continue her relationship with Rongyu. The past was the past. However, there were some people who could not let it go and wanted to find trouble with her. Yi-Huan laughed softly, and it sounded like she was mocking him. "Qin Mo, what do you think this can do? There is a kind of relationship between a man and a woman called cohabitation, and a man like you could be a sugar daddy. What's the point of writing this now? You just don't want me to marry Rongyu, right? You just can't let go of your pride. You just care that I used you once, don't you?" Qin Mo stared at her. "You've finally spoken your mind." He stood up and pulled her to his side. "You want to live with Rongyu?" Yi-Huan fell into his arms. When she looked up, there was a trace of fear on her face. Qin Mo felt a stab of pain in his heart. He knew that she still could not forget what happened that night. She had not forgotten. In fact, he had not forgotten either. He could not let it go either. Chinamo let go of her dejectedly and let her sit in her original position. He himself was still standing by the French window. Chinamo, I'll leave after you sign the papers. I don't need your money. Juan sounded a little tired. Let's just let each other go, okay? He continued to stand there, ignoring her at first. He only stood there for a long time before saying in a low voice, You hate me, don't you? Yes, Juan admitted straightforwardly. I'm afraid of you too. Chinamo heaved a long sigh. Actually, I hate you too, Juan. As he spoke, he suddenly turned around and stared at her. There was a tinge of red in his eyes. They were bloodshot. Juan was also looking at him. The air was also silent. It seemed to be frozen. After a long time, he finally walked over slowly and sat down opposite her. He picked up the pen on the table and signed his name. After signing the last stroke, he said in a low voice, In our marriage, I've never loved anyone else. I only hate you. After that, he gently leaned back and covered his eyes with his hand. Missy, you can go now. It will take a week to get the certificate. I'll ask my secretary to send it to you. As for the transfer of property, I'll ask the company's finance department to handle it for you. Juan's throat seemed to be choked. She could not describe the feeling. She actually really hated him, but now that they were separated like this, neither of them would have a good time. She wanted to say something, but he raised his hand. You don't have to say anything. I'm tired of hearing you hate me. There's no need to apologize. You're only sorry because you don't love me. Chapter 4190. Juan looked at him and got up silently. She walked to the door and suddenly said, It's not like that. He lay there and did not say anything. Her voice was bitter. I probably liked you, but it was very short. After seeing you and her in the hospital, I couldn't like you anymore. Chinamo, we just missed each other. When I liked you, you didn't like me anymore. When you liked me again, I couldn't love you anymore. We always missed each other. Chinamo closed his eyes slightly. Really, she did not say anything and opened the door to leave. As soon as she left, there was a violent sound coming from the office behind her. The desk was flipped over, and so was the sofa. It was a mess. The only intact thing in the office was probably the divorce agreement. The secretary and Juan looked at each other at the door, and Juan said softly, Goodbye. She left decisively. The secretary sighed softly, but could not ignore President Chin. He was so angry. It was obvious that he couldn't bear to part with her. Why did he still want a divorce? It was a temporary pleasure to divorce now, but the days of crying and kneeling would probably come later. The secretary opened the door carefully. Chinamo was leaning against the bookcase. His coat was thrown on the ground, his tie was loose, and his hair was messy. He looked very dispirited. This was the first time the secretary had seen President Chin like this. Divorce lovelorn syndrome. The secretary had invented this phrase and thought it was very good. President Chin, Missy has left. The secretary reported anxiously. So, no matter how angry you are, it will only damage the company's finances and your own hands will hurt. Missy will not feel bad. Chin Mo glanced at her. She's still my wife. Yes, madam. The secretary followed his words. However, Chinamo was angry again. She will not be my wife soon. The secretary was a little embarrassed. After a while, she said, Then I will call her to director. Hearing that Chinamo was going to be the director of Ronyu's film, they divorced because of this. The secretary whispered, Actually, it's really not worth it to get a divorce because of this. You can fully support director he's filming and visit him on set. You could be a couple on set every day and stay in the same hotel. After filming, she'll still be your wife. No one could take her away, right? Chinamo kicked the sofa and found a place to sit down. Why didn't you tell me before? The secretary said, Honestly, I didn't dare before. Chinamo lit a cigarette and took a puff. After a while, he said in a low voice, It's impossible between us. I made a move on her, and I was the one who brought up the divorce first. Juan was such a proud person. She wouldn't turn back, and he didn't want to. Perhaps it was impulsive, but he really couldn't go on anymore. The secretary did not make a sound. She did not dare to make a sound. She didn't expect that a man like President Chin would lay his hands on his wife and propose a divorce first. Chinamo suddenly smiled bitterly. I just don't know how to face her. I'm afraid I'll hurt her again. The secretary said in a trembling voice, Boss, don't tell me you're paranoid. Chin Mo glanced at her, and the secretary did not dare to say anything. Call Lawyer Li in and get this document done. When it's done, bring it to me, he said in a low voice. The secretary did not need to look to know what it was. She felt a little sad. It had still come to this. 3 days later, the secretary brought the documents over. Chin Mo looked at the 2 green books and was stunned for a long time. Chapter 4191. 3 days later, the secretary brought them over. Chin Mo stared at the 2 green books, stunned for a long time. His office had been replaced with new desks and chairs, and even the sofa. He sat at his desk, quietly looking at the 2 books. He reached for his phone, wanting to call Yi Huan, but he hung up. He didn't make the call. He would call her later. He sat in his office for the whole afternoon. He knew that Yi Huan had already started preparing for twin. Kong Qiao had signed a letter of intent with her, because Kong Qiao hadn't received a contract yet. Chin Mo sat until 6 in the evening, when he remembered that Yi Huan had asked him to accompany her for dinner. Today was Yi Huan's birthday. They were supposed to be at a warm age, but he and Yi Huan had divorced. He didn't tell the kid about it. He would talk about it later. He took his coat and walked out of the office slowly, bumping into Ruan Yun at the elevator. Ruan Yun seemed to have something to talk to him about, but Chin Mo wasn't in the mood. His mind was on Yi Huan, even though they were divorced. But he couldn't let it go. Perhaps it was just as Uncle Kim had said. He would regret it. He regretted it now. He didn't regret the divorce, but the violence he had done to Yi Huan that night. He shouldn't have treated her like that. You should think about how to develop new talent. All right, let someone else take care of the one you're leading. His talent can't compare to Kong Xiao's, and he's not younger than Bai Jingxin either. He can't compete with him. Ruan Yun, I believe you have good taste. Don't let your personal feelings affect your work. All right, Kong Xiao is married. You should let it go. Otherwise, King Entertainment won't suit you. Ruan Yun was stunned. She hadn't expected Kong Xiao to be married. She knew that he and Su Mo were together, living together, or rather, living together. But he shouldn't be so stupid as to get married. His family was far from Su Mo's, and Su Mo had a loving family. How could he be willing to get married? By the way, he had asked Su Mo to sign a prenuptial agreement. The Kong Xiao she knew was such a person, so he should be such a person. She didn't believe that he would be assimilated by Su Mo. She didn't believe that he would fall in love with Su Mo. It must be because he wanted to get married, so Su Mo only did it occasionally. Ruan Yin tried her best to convince herself, but deep down, she knew that Kong Xiao had truly fallen in love with Su Mo. That was why he had given up everything. He had given up on King Entertainment and his past. All he wanted was to give that woman a fresh start. What about her? She had been with him for so many years, but in the end, it was just a work relationship. She had clearly raised him up single-handedly. She was indignant. She wanted to ask Kong Xiao about it. She wanted to tell him that after he left her, Ruan Yun, and King Entertainment, he would be nothing. She was very scared, and she couldn't wait to let him know. When Chin Mo arrived at the parking lot, he went to buy a gift and went to his parents' house. He didn't expect Yi Huan to be there too. Therefore, when he saw Yi Huan's car, he sat in the car and was stunned for a while. His heart beat wildly, like a pitiful young man. Only Yi Huan would make him behave like this. Chapter 4192. Chin Mo walked into the mansion and was surprised to see Yi Huan. Yi Huan, who was about to become his ex-wife, was accompanying Yi Huan. Yi Huan was very happy. She hugged Yi Huan's neck and called her mother softly, asking why she hadn't seen her for so many days. Yi Huan was about to speak when she saw Chin Mo, and the air seemed to freeze. They had actually met today, but after signing the contract, they were strangers. In the past, although they weren't a loving couple, they were still official. She could endure some intimate actions for the sake of the child. But today, when their eyes met, Yi Huan felt a little uncomfortable. She pursed her lips. I'm here to celebrate Yi Huan's birthday. Chin Mo sat down, gave the gift in his hand to Yi Huan, and patted her. Go and play. Yi Huan went to open the gift, not caring about the adults talking. There was only a family of 3 in the living room. Qin Mo lowered his voice. You didn't say anything to her, did you? Iwan smiled lightly. Did she say that we're divorced? His gaze was a little deep, and he didn't ask any more. After a while, Qin Shun and the Qin family's parents came, and even Lan Yu came. Lan Yu was afraid that Qin Mo would go crazy, so he didn't bring him along. Qin Shun looked at the couple. She knew that they had signed a contract. She wanted to rub it again, but she couldn't say it because Qin Mo didn't look like someone to be trifled with. She looked at Lan Yu, and Lan Yu pinched her hand, signaling her not to say anything. Things had already come to this, and it was useless to say anything more. The atmosphere was very subtle. The adults didn't talk much, and only Huan was very happy, blowing out the candles and cutting the cake. But she didn't know that this might be the last birthday of her parents. Huan was having dinner here. After dinner, she hugged Huan and pressed her forehead against the little fellow's. I'm going to work in another city. I'll leave tonight. Huan, you have to be obedient. Huan looked at Huan with tears in her eyes. Will I only be able to see Mommy once or twice a year? The little boy wrapped his arms around her neck. I want to go abroad with Mommy. I want to be with Mommy every day. Huan held the soft baby in her arms and lowered her eyes. Can Mommy try to come back once a week? Living in Dad's apartment? Huan looked at her expectantly. I want Mom to give me a bath. Huan hesitated for a while. Chinamo said in a low voice, of course he's staying with Dad. They had agreed not to tell Huan about their divorce for the next few years, so they had to cooperate when they had to put on an act occasionally. Huan did not refute. She didn't think about anything now. She hated Qin Mo in her heart. He always extinguished the hope in her heart when it was ignited. He never knew how cruel he could be. Huan was about to leave. Huan took Qin Mo's hand and said, Daddy, send Mommy. Children always hoped that their parents would love each other, and they even created opportunities for them. Qin Shun and Lan Yu looked at each other and felt sorry for Huan. She was so young. How sad she would be if she knew that her parents were divorced. Chinamo took the car key and looked at Huan. Let's go. Huan nodded and walked out with him silently. The car was parked on the parking lot outside. There were only sparse lights in the courtyard at night, and it was a little cold. Huan gently stroked her arm and didn't say anything until they got in the car. She said, send me to the intersection. I'll take a taxi myself. She hadn't fully recovered, so she didn't drive herself. Chapter 4193. Qin Mo tilted his head and looked at her. Where do you live? Do you live by yourself or with your parents? I live by myself. Huan did not refuse. Although they were not husband and wife, she did not have the strength to be his enemy, because they would have to get along with Huan in the future. She leaned against the back of the seat and said the address in a low voice. Qin Mo also knew that place. It was a unit that Huan had bought a long time ago. She would stay there when she returned to China. He did not say anything and drove there directly. They did not speak much during the 1-hour drive. Huan even closed her eyes to rest. When the car stopped, Qin Mo tilted his head and looked at her. Huan's eyes were still closed, as if she was asleep. We're here, he said softly. He watched her open her eyes and look around. She looked a little defensive. Qin Mo's heart ached. Huan said, we're here. She took her bag and prepared to get out of the car. Thank you. She opened the door with one hand and wanted to get out of the car. Qin Mo's other hand held her and pressed her down on the seat. He looked very calm and did not seem to be using much strength to control her. Huan's body froze for a moment. He keenly noticed it and then loosened his hand. When she was about to pull her hand back, he suddenly tightened his grip and said with difficulty, I'm sorry about what happened that day. Huan looked up and said, You don't have to apologize. Really, just take it as me paying you back for all these years. She calmly pulled her hand back and opened the door to get out of the car. Qin Mo's body did not move. His eyes followed her into the elevator. Not long ago, they had just watched a loving couple celebrate their child's birthday. But now, they were already strangers. He looked to the side and found that Huan's phone had fallen on the car seat. He picked it up and wanted to get out of the car to give it to her. But when he walked in the lobby, his eyes froze. Huan was not alone. She was standing face to face with a man. She looked up and stared at the man in a daze. That man was Rongyu. Chin Mo clenched his fists so tightly that his knuckles turned white. He controlled himself not to go up and beat the crap out of Mr. Rome. Instead, he walked over with a reserved expression. I dropped your phone in my car. Huan tilted her head and looked at him. She took it without explaining. Actually, there was nothing much to explain. They were already divorced, and she had no idea why Rongyu was here. She thanked him softly and entered the elevator with Rongyu. Chin Mo stood there, squinting at their backs. Did Huan think that he was dead? They hadn't even registered for the certificate, and she couldn't wait? Chin Mo's fingers clenched and loosened. In the end, his pride stopped him from following them. He returned to the car, but he didn't leave immediately. Instead, he sat in the car and smoked quietly. About 10 minutes later, Rongyu came down with a folder in his hand. It seemed like he was there to retrieve something. Chin Mo got out of the car and stared at him in the dark. It was the same for Rongyu. One of them was wild and noble, while the other was reserved and gentle. They looked at each other for a long time in the dark. Then Chin Mo said in a low voice, "She is still Mrs. Chin. I know, but she won't be anymore soon." Rongyu's expression was indifferent. "I won't let Huan do anything immoral. I will pursue her in the future." Chapter 4194. Chin Mo lit a cigarette and looked at Rongyu. Is it because of her fame? He smiled. With her current status, you're really trying to climb up the social ladder. Aren't you afraid of being called a gigolo? Rongyu was unmoved. That's not important. For someone who has died once, the most important thing is to be able to be with the person he likes. And I missed her for many years. Missed her? Chin Mo smiled and looked at Rongyu mockingly. Can you go back? Before you two missed each other, she married me and had a child with me. She liked me, but you still got a divorce. Rongyu looked down. President Chin, Huan isn't a willful girl. Maybe she was willful once because she married you. But to the point where she wanted a divorce, it's because you didn't cherish her. Chin Mo stared at Rongyu for a few seconds. Then, he got into his car and sped away. On the way back, there was a small accident. He injured his hand, but it wasn't a big deal. It was just that he shouldn't drive for a month. The media magnified the incident and made it sound so serious that Chin Mo couldn't stay in the hospital anymore and had to be discharged. Chin put him in a fixed position and leaned against his bed. The hospital is still peaceful. Mom and Dad will miss you for a long time when you go back. Otherwise, you'll be living alone in the apartment. There's no one who can take care of you. Chin Mo didn't say anything. He just stayed silent. Chin asked again, how did you hit the wall? Brother, you didn't drink that night. I saw Rongyu. He was at her place. Chin Mo wanted to smoke, but the moment he took out the cigarette box, Chin took it away and threw it away. Why are you still smoking at this time? Chin Mo stared at her. I don't even have a wife now. Can't I smoke? That's what you pretended not to have. Chin couldn't help but say, of all the things you could have done something to get Rong Huan out of B City. Why did you torture Huan? Isn't it just a meeting between old friends to have a cup of coffee and a few words? Furthermore, it's a business relationship. Do you think it's reasonable for you to abuse Huan? Furthermore, you're the one who wanted to divorce her. Not to mention meeting her. Even if they had sex, you wouldn't be able to say anything about it. You said in front of Uncle Kaim that you don't regret it. Why did you hit the wall after seeing such a small scene? If they get married in the future, I think you might go crazy. No, Chin Mo said in a low voice. Let's all start again. Chin, maybe Huan and I don't have the same personality. After so many years, we still can't get along. Chin didn't say anything else. As long as he didn't regret it, it was fine. She helped him get discharged, but Chin Mo insisted on staying in his own apartment. Chin mentioned something. When I went back that day, Lan Yu took the initiative to mention it to me. He said that Huan is now in the nursery and can go to school with our Lan Yu. We have 2 children at home, and one more won't make a difference. Chin Mo patted her. Let's talk about it later. I want to take care of her myself after I'm done with this. Chin couldn't insist. After all, children still had to follow their parents. She asked in a low voice, will you find a stepmother for Huan? Chin Mo glanced at her and shook his head. No, I won't. No, at least not for the time being. Qinshan understood what he meant, so he advised, even if you have a girlfriend, don't bring her home. Unless it's a woman that you've decided to spend the rest of your life with. It's not good for Yi Huan's growth. Chapter 4195. Qin Mo stared at her. Qin Shun couldn't help begging, I know you know what to do. In the end, she, the most famous doctor, drove Qin Mo back to the apartment. Fortunately, there was an auntie in the apartment. Although it wasn't very convenient, there was still someone to take care of him. Qin Shun had something to do in the hospital, so he left first. Qin Mo went back to the bedroom alone. He wanted to take a shower, but then he remembered that it was inconvenient for his hands, so he gave up. However, when he opened the closet, he found that there were a lot of Yi Huan's clothes. She had lived for a long time recently, so she bought a lot of clothes. Qin Mo looked at it for a long time and touched it with his fingers. He wanted to ask her to take it away, but after thinking about it, he didn't make the call. He went back to the master bedroom, lay down, and closed his eyes. He thought about what he did to Yi Huan that night. He clenched his fingers, and it hurt. Yi Huan must have been in pain that night. She cried and begged him, but he didn't let her go. He had never been so rough to a woman. In addition to being rude about X, he also strangled her, bit her, and even slapped her. With Yi Huan's pride, she should have asked for a divorce that night, but she didn't. He thought that she might really love Yi Huan, so she could endure it. He asked himself again if he did it on purpose, as if he wanted to know where her bottom line was. It was too painful for him to suffer in this relationship alone, so he lost control. Qin Mo didn't fall asleep, so he got out of bed and walked out. The auntie was a little surprised to see him. Sir, you're going out? Qin Mo said calmly, I'm going to the company, and I'll come back tonight. The auntie nodded, but she was still worried. Before Miss Qin left, she told me that you can't touch water or drive. I'll ask the driver to take me. Qin Mo said calmly and opened the door to go out. He went to the company, and there was no urgent matter to deal with. He just sat there and took out 2 green books from the drawer. He told Qin Shun to let go of each other, so he wanted to let her go, even if she was really with Rongyu. Let her be. Letting her go was letting himself go. It was his way of making up for what he did to her that night. Although his heart felt like it was being pricked by needles, he still dialed Yi Huan's number. The certificate is ready. Come to the company to get it. Yi Huan said that he understood. He waited there for about 3 hours before Yi Huan came. She was dressed like she was working and seemed to be in a hurry. She came over and looked at the bandage on Qin Mo's hand. What happened? There are some fractures in my hand, but it's not a big problem. Then, he took out a green book from the drawer. This is yours. Keep it well. I'll need this for some things in the future. Yi Huan quietly took it. After all, it was a divorce. Even if she hated him, she couldn't pretend to be happy. Moreover, she used to like him. However, none of them had a good ending. Qin Mo said calmly, I only have one request. Before Yi Huan turns 12, don't let her know that we're divorced, and don't let her know that you have another man outside. As for marriage, it's up to you, as long as you're happy. This was what he had promised. Letting go would be more thorough. Yi Huan knew that he had misunderstood her and Rongyu. He thought that she had chosen Rongyu. She didn't intend to explain and only smiled faintly. And in Qin Mo's heart, it was a silent agreement. He lowered his eyes. The lawyer will hand over the other procedures to you. If you want to see Yi Huan, call me. Chapter 4196. Yi Huan held the divorce certificate in her hand and agreed. Then, there was really nothing left to say. She stood at the door and said softly, Qin Mo, I'm leaving. Qin Mo nodded, but his gaze never left her. Yi Huan still left. The door closed. Qin Mo instinctively wanted to smash something, but he held back. Raising his head slightly, he thought to himself, Yi Huan didn't seem reluctant to leave, nor did she seem to hate him. It seemed like he was right to say that they were going to separate and divorce. At least she was happy and would be happy in the future. He felt that it was over, but his eyes were still warm. Something slid down from the corner of his eye. He reached out to touch it and realized it was his own tears. He smiled bitterly. He had liked her for almost 20 years. A few tears were nothing. Qin Mo didn't rest. He threw himself into work and called Secretary He. Secretary He was frightened. He knew his boss was in a bad mood, but when he came in, he realized his boss was calm. President Qin. Secretary He was slightly relieved. Qin Mo sat down and turned on his laptop. The screensaver was He Huan's photo. He was stunned for a moment, then changed it and looked up. How are the preparations for Kong Qiao's farewell party? For an artist of Kong Qiao's caliber, it naturally had to be done beautifully. Otherwise, it would be a loss for both parties. Qin Mo had always been magnanimous. Besides, Kong Qiao had contributed greatly to King, so he had to be gracious. Secretary He replied quickly, "It will be held the night after tomorrow. The hotel is at the Grand Hyatt, which is also President Qin's relative's place. There's a 20% discount. Also, the media and other important figures have been invited. On one hand, it's to build momentum for Kong Qiao. On the other hand, it's to use Kong Qiao's resources to bring traffic to King Entertainment. Nowadays, newcomers still need the help of the old, right?" Qin Mo stared at the computer and said calmly, "You did well. Who did you invite?" He changed the screen and realized that there were many photos of He Huan on his computer. He hadn't specially uploaded anything, so why were there dozens of them? He deleted them one by one as he listened to Secretary He's report. Finally, there was only one photo left. That was their wedding photo. Qin Mo looked at it silently for a long time. In the end, he kept the last one and did not delete it. Just then, Secretary He mentioned, "In terms of directing, we've invited..." Qin Mo interrupted her. "Director He?" "Yes, it's Director He, but..." Secretary He's voice trailed off. "Because Kong Qiao will be working with Director He soon. So, I thought..." Qin Mo's eyes darkened. He smiled faintly. "You know quite a lot." His attitude made Secretary He a little uncertain, so he froze there and didn't continue. Qin Mo raised his hand. "Let's do as you say. Make it grand. Don't let others think that King Entertainment can't do without Kong Qiao. We have to give it our best wishes." Secretary He closed the document and breathed a sigh of relief. He smiled and asked, "Will President Qin be there?" Qin Mo said indifferently, "Go. Consider it a token of my sincerity." He had even forsaken He Huan. Why couldn't he give this little bit of gift? He thought bitterly in his heart and smiled uncontrollably. On the other side, Kong Qiao received a call from Secretary He. He was very grateful to Secretary He. Secretary He was an excellent person and had always treated Kong Qiao well, especially in front of President Qin. Kong Qiao knew this very well. Chapter 4197. He hung up and looked at Su Mo. "Come to the dinner party with me the day after tomorrow." Su Mo came over from Mr. Kang's room next door. She took a sip of fruit tea and looked at him. Qin Mo is quite generous. He's too lazy to scheme when he's in a bad mood. It's not easy to leave King Entertainment. He's just being angry with Director He. Kong Qiao smiled, just like us before. He was now married and very satisfied. The sun was shining brightly, so he pulled Su Mo into his arms and kissed her. I said they would still be together. Su Mo rolled her eyes. "It's best if they don't. Why do you guys get to keep me if you want me, and throw me away if you don't?" Although she said it harshly, her voice was sweet when they were in a good relationship. Kong Qiao leaned over to kiss her lips and said meaningfully, "Then feel it. Do I want you or don't want you now?" Su Mo was stunned. She reached out and hit his shoulder. "You're so bad. Do it again." He coaxed her and pulled her into his arms. He lowered his head and kissed her. Afraid that she would struggle, he held her body in place with his arms. After kissing her for a while, he carried her into the master bedroom and pressed down on her with his fingers tightly intertwined. Su Mo scratched his back. Her breathing was a little erratic. "Kong Qiao, I can't get pregnant now. I've asked the doctor, and he says there's no problem." He licked and kissed the corner of her mouth, answering gently, and also gently to her. In the end, they did it twice. After that, Kong Qiao cleaned her body and placed his hand on her stomach, thinking that there might already be his flesh and blood here. He knew that Su Mo was prone to pregnancy these few days, so he couldn't help but ask a few more times. He went downstairs and made some food. After waking her up, he fed her some. Su Mo fell asleep after eating. He finished his work and went downstairs to eat something while reading a magazine. Just then, the auntie came over and said that someone was looking for them. Kong Xiao thought it was someone from the company or He Huan, so he wanted to invite them in. He thought for a moment and asked who it was. The auntie hesitated. It's the old Miss Ruan. Kong Xiao frowned. Ruan Yin? He put down a magazine and went to see Ruan Yin. He received her in the living room. Ruan Yin wasn't in a good state. She sat on the sofa and drank water, her hands shaking. After a while, she put down the cup and stared at Kong Xiao. Why? Compared to her, Kong Xiao was much calmer. Why what? You and Su Mo got married, right? Ruan Yin said in one breath, her voice. Kong Xiao, she's trying to harm you. She's a spy from Starlight, and she wants to destroy you. She wants you to lose everything. Have you forgotten how you treated her in the past? How could she like you? She wants to destroy you, Ruan Yin said in one breath. Her voice was rather agitated. Up, mo, shing up. Shing, mo, shing up. Star S, shing, mo, s, shing, she's crazy. That's why she's doing this. Watch her. She'll return to Star's entertainment when you lose everything. It's all Yi Mu Bai and when Yuan's conspiracy. Kong Xiao, you know that Yi Mu Bai has always hated you. Ruan Yin was getting more and more ridiculous. Chapter 4198. Kong Xiao closed his eyes. Ruan Yin, we've worked together before. That's why I'm willing to tell you that there isn't so much hatred in this world. Only I can decide my career, and Su Mo has never asked. Now is that okay? He said calmly, live a good life in the future. In this entertainment circle, we enjoy the feeling of being watched by others, but Ruan Yin, that's not everything in life. Whether I'm a violinist or an actor in the future, it's just a profession. It has nothing to do with my life. At most, it's a better quality of life. I'm just bringing a better life to my family. That's all. Only now did he understand why his mother liked Wen Yuan so much. She said that Wen Yuan played the piano very well. It was because Wen Yuan didn't care about fame and fortune. She only liked music, and he, Kong Xiao, had always played the piano for fame and fortune. He had long lost his spirituality, but he had never been willing to admit it. After Kong Xiao finished speaking, Ruan Yin looked as if she had been shocked. She stared at him in disbelief. After a long time, Ruan Yin left. In the afternoon, Weibo became a trending topic, and it was filled with negative comments about Su Mo. People said that Su Mo was actually the protagonist of the Car Z incident, not a certain model, and that the model was just a shield, and that Su Mo and Kong Xiao had a business relationship back then, and they still maintained it now. Kong Xiao sat in the living room and browsed Weibo. He knew that it was Ruan Yin who did it. She was really hopeless. He knew that Ruan Yin thought that he didn't dare to announce that he was married for fear of losing fans. Kong Xiao smiled. He didn't wear makeup, so why should he be afraid of losing fans? He went upstairs and read a magazine in the living room of the master bedroom while waiting for Su Mo to wake up. He didn't care about what was written on the trending topic. Rumors were rumors, and they couldn't prove anything. The most important thing to him right now was his mother's health, Su Mo's, and their child. He couldn't wait to have a child with Su Mo. Maybe it would be a naughty boy, or maybe it would be a flat princess like Su Mo. It didn't matter. However, as long as the child looked like him, it wouldn't be much different. Mr. Kong thought narcissistically. Just thinking about it made him feel very happy. When Su Mo woke up, he went over. You've slept for 4 or 5 hours. You're really a pig, aren't you? Su Mo swatted his hand away and harumphed. How can you be pregnant when you've just finished? She put one hand behind her head and grabbed him with the other to prevent him from taking advantage of her. In a soft voice, she said, Have you seen Mother? It should be dinner soon. Concho said somewhat absent-mindedly, I said I won't go tonight. We'll eat here. Look at you. You're not filial at all. Su Mo glanced at him, then said softly, You've already done it during the day. Isn't it good to accompany Mama at night? Kong Xiao smiled and reached out to pinch her cheeks. My heart aches for you, Mrs. Kong. Aren't your legs sore? Or do you want me to carry you to the next room for dinner and let my mom see that we did it in the afternoon and made your legs soft? Su Mo glared at him. Kong Xiao smiled. All right, what do you want to eat tonight? He was very gentle, just like any considerate husband. Su Mo admitted that she enjoyed it very much. She counted on her fingers and said a few things. Kong Xiao laughed. What's so difficult about that? Chapter 4199. She counted on her fingers and said a few things. Kong Xiao laughed. What's so difficult about that? He went downstairs and told them to go upstairs to accompany her. But when he went upstairs, he found that Su Mo was playing with her phone with a subtle expression. He coughed lightly and walked in. Did you see it? Su Mo's eyes were still on the phone as she replied. It's been so long, but Ruan Yun still has pictures of our car Z. I didn't take a closer look last time, and now I'm in luck. Kong Xiao was annoyed and amused at the same time. He went over and pinched her nose. Is that the point? Su Mo didn't care. We're married. What's the big deal? By the way, do you still have intimate pictures with her? I'm not that perverted, Kong Xiao said unhappily. Su Mo, don't mention this in the future. Su Mo's reaction was to glare at him. You're the only one who can do it, but I can't talk about it. She held the phone and asked casually, by the way, how is her figure? Is her technique good? Kong Xiao finally couldn't take it anymore. He went over to hold her down and then bit her lips as a punishment. Mrs. Kong, I think we need to end this topic. She looked surprised. These are your dark history. Shouldn't you settle it? He patted her face. Mrs. Kong, we're married. It's too late to settle it now. It's not late. It's never too late. Su Mo also patted him. Your money is in my hands now. Kong Xiao laughed and kissed her. As for the next time, there was no such thing. Her body was not the same as before. He also knew how to control himself. Because he loved someone, he was willing to restrain his desires for the other party. And when he endured for a long time, the sudden sense of satisfaction was very strong, which Kong Xiao liked very much. Kong Xiao turned over and lay flat with her, then whispered, Ruan Yun is like this because she's not reconciled. Let her be. She's always been kind to me. Su Mo held his big hand and played with it. After a while, she said, Kong Xiao, you've changed. He looked at her sideways, his face full of interest. Su Mo put her head on his shoulder and rubbed it, then said slowly, You weren't so kind and tolerant before. Really, Su Mo, I don't want to offend anyone. In the end, all of you got hurt. Ruan Yun doesn't need to deal with her. The most she can do is stir up her fans. In reality, it's different from before. Whether an idol is married or not is no longer important to the fans. She still thinks that I'm still the fresh meat from back then. Su Mo smiled. Yeah, it's just a piece of old cured meat. Who said I'm old bacon? He leaned over and pinched her face. Who's the one who likes to nibble on me? You nibble on everything and say that I taste good? Su Mo simply couldn't bear listening to him any longer. She howled and cried out before finally lying in his arms. After a while, she nibbled on his chin. Do you think it will be harder for me to get pregnant like this? Kong Xiao's eyes darkened. How about changing to someone who can get pregnant easily? Su Mo nuzzled him again. Mr. Kong, I think I heard Annie calling us for dinner downstairs. Her face was full of teasing. Kong Xiao kissed her for a while before letting her go. I'll kill you later. Chapter 4200. Kong Xiao took Su Mo downstairs for dinner. When they got downstairs, Su Mo saw the cup that the Annie hadn't put away. She stared at it for a long time before asking, Did Ruan Yun come over when I was asleep? Kong Xiao reached out to rub her hair and smiled. Your nose is sharper than a dog's. Su Mo glared at him and sat down at the dining table. How did you displease her so that she hung you up on Weibo? Kong Xiao sat beside her and said in a low voice while serving her food, Maybe because I didn't submit to her? Su Mo picked up a piece of meat and said slowly, You're old cured meat. How can you be so popular? Not necessarily. He gave her a meaningful look. Do you dare say that the meat you usually eat isn't delicious? Su Mo couldn't help blushing when he said those words again. She chose to eat. After they got married, They were busy with Kong Xiao's mother's illness and had no time to care about other things. They didn't even talk about the cooperation between Kong Xiao and He Huan in detail. These things had to be put aside for the future. Right now, Kong Xiao valued his family more. If he couldn't survive in the entertainment industry, he could still work in the financial industry to support his family. Everything he did was to protect his family. He didn't care about popularity or hype. All he wanted was to live a good life with Su Imo. Su Imo lowered her head to eat the meat. He looked at her quietly and then smiled slightly, not saying anything. Wanyan was just an outdated topic. As for the Car Z from a few years ago, it was even more outdated. Moreover, the male and female leads were them, so there was nothing that couldn't be mentioned, let alone hurt. After dinner, Kong Xiao took Su Imo upstairs. She couldn't fall asleep after sleeping for a long time. After taking a shower, she lay on the bed and read a magazine. Kong Xiao took out his notebook and studied some financial things. Su Imo lay on his shoulder. Kong Xiao, you seem to be very good at this. You should know how good I am. He tilted his head and kissed her on the lips. Su Imo glanced at him and then put her arms around his neck. Tell me, did you sell yourself to get those billions? As soon as she finished speaking, he hit her in the butt. She cried out in a sweet voice. Kong Xiao snorted. Nonsense. He had messed around in the entertainment industry before, but he really didn't sell himself out as often as she thought. However, he didn't want to explain these things. He didn't want to keep reminding Su Imo of his dark history. Since she had let go, he had to learn to let go as well. Kong Xiao typed on the keyboard and said in a low voice, investing in the stock market is probably my main income. You can learn in the future, huh? Su Imo still hugged him. I think I should stay at home to take care of the elderly and the children. Kong Xiao smiled and reached out to pinch her face. So lazy? Yeah, I'm just lazy. I don't want to move. You said you would support me, Su Imo said with a little coquettishly. Isn't that right, husband? Kong Xiao tilted his head to look at her with a helpless expression on his face. Then, he closed the laptop and picked her up. Su Imo screamed, Kong Xiao, what are you doing? He had also showered and felt refreshed. At this moment, his thin lips were pressed against her neck and he kissed her face. His voice was very hoarse. What do you think I want to do, HM? If she hadn't been sure before, she could feel it now that they were pressed against each other. Blushing, she put her hand on his shoulder. No, Kong Xiao, you're almost 40. Shouldn't you? I want to chat with more like-minded people about new wife number 1. Husband, addicted to pampering. Talking about life and looking for confidence W. 4M. Chapter 42:01. He deliberately misinterpreted her words. We're almost 40, so we have to have a child as soon as possible, right? Su Imo wanted to cry, but no tears came out. After a while, she took his hand and whispered, Can you control yourself? We're newly married. He pressed her fingers against the bed sheet, but he was very gentle. Mrs. Kong, you think that Mr. Kong is too weak after just getting married. Su Imo wanted to cry, so she turned her face away. Didn't you say that you're amazing? Can't I get it? Kong Xiao chuckled. I feel obliged to constantly refresh your understanding. Su Imo turned her head and stared at him, but her gaze was also fierce, without any lethality. Later, Mr. Kong began to make babies again. Su Imo completely suspected that making babies was just an excuse and that he actually wanted to do it himself. Humph, he's just lustful, and he still doesn't admit it. He Huan said that he had the abstinence of the male lead of twin. Bullshit, Kong Xiao is obviously lustful. Early the next morning, Su Mo's waist was about to break, and Kong Xiao went to his studio in high spirits. Noon Studio had just started, but with Kong Xiao's resources, it shouldn't be difficult. Moreover, Kong Xiao probably didn't take many shows himself, and mainly invested in this area. Although he only mentioned it, Su Imo knew that he would probably leave the operation of the studio to her. He didn't mention it, and she didn't take the initiative to mention it. She wanted to enjoy life at home, but she also knew that Kong Xiao would need a helper when he was busy, and the only person he trusted the most was her. Su Imo lay on the bed, painfully reciting some ancient words that she had learned before. When heaven is about to bestow a great responsibility on a man, he must first torture his mind and strengthen his muscles and bones. Look, her mind was going to be bitter in the future, and her muscles and bones were going to be crushed by him last night. It was really a big pie that he had given her before. He tricked her. Sumo's complaints were very sweet. Around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Kong Xiao came back and found Sumo at Mr. Kang's place next door. They chatted for a while, and Mr. Kang's body recovered very quickly, which was simply a miracle. After staying for a while, she brought Sumo out and picked a well-known styling studio. Kong Xiao had already prepared the gown and jewelry. Sumo was very thin. He picked out a white dress for her. It was simple and elegant. It was matched with a set of diamond jewelry. Sumo was also used to seeing the world. It looked quite expensive. It's from Mrs. Kong. Do you like it? He put it on for her with his own hands and handed her a handbag. Sumo looked at him in the mirror, then said in a low voice, "You have good control of your measurements." Kong Xiao shamelessly replied, "Do you think I've been working for nothing these past few days? Sumo, can we still communicate properly?" Kong Xiao had also changed into a formal suit. He looked very dazzling, not at all inferior to those little fresh meats. He abandoned the driver's limousine and drove himself to the Grand Hyatt Hotel with Sumo. At the entrance of the hotel, there was a long red carpet. Dozens of reporters were waiting there, waiting for Kong Xiao to appear. The internet had already gone crazy with the past car Z, but Kong Xiao did not respond. Did this mean that he had tacitly agreed? Kong Xiao's car stopped. The moment Kong Xiao got out of the car, there was a commotion in the crowd. Many of them were Kong Xiao's fans. There were about 200 to 300 people, and they were shouting Kong Xiao's name, wanting to break through the human wall. Kong Xiao was not alone. He buckled up and went to the back door of the car to open it. He wanted to chat with more like-minded people about new wife number 1, husband, addicted to pampering, talking about life, looking for a bosom friend W. For M, you're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.